Welcome to Coffee Bar Stories,
A small-town comedy and DTZ Entertainment presentation.
hosted by Dad and Son. And welcome to episode 8. This is episode Trying Something New. So what we're going to try today is we're going to pick a subject. We're going to start with movies and kind of freeform it to where we're not going to tell stories about movies. We're just going to talk about them and see how this works out. So hopefully this is going to be a good one and exciting. I got with me today, Son, of course, and then we also have a special guest, Bubba, our oldest son, and
How are you doing?
he's gonna jump in and out with it. And Bubba, why don't you throw out the first movie you like to talk about?
So, here's a good one. We were just talking about it earlier. What? Total Recall.
The newer version
The newer
of Total
one.
Recall.
The newer-
Not the Arnold
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger
I don't think
one,
I've
okay.
ever seen Total Recall, to be honest. Can you, since I've never seen it, what's it about?
It's
You've never seen Arnold
I don't
Schwarzenegger
know. I don't
one?
think I've ever seen
Oh,
either
okay.
of them. So
kind of a weird...
Well, you're gonna have to tell them because neither one, they don't cross each other.
No, okay.
So
So, you
we'll
tell
just-
him the Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No,
one.
we'll leave the Arnold Schwarzenegger
Okay.
one out of this. How about
Okay.
that? And we'll
Okay.
go with what it is because it doesn't represent each other at
So
all.
it's kind of like this dude, he's a special agent, gets kidnapped, his memory got wiped and replaced, and essentially he ends up learning what he was, and he worked for a resistance against the new government or whatever.
okay.
And
No, you got it mixed up. He didn't. He was part of the government.
Okay.
He was a spy that what they did was he infiltrated. They had him infiltrate this underground group that's trying to stop the government or whatever it is, and he ends up losing his memory, and they wipe him and they put him on the plant on a workforce.
yeah.
And he's living like a life like that, and then Total Recall, obviously, he goes.
Okay, so he starts remembering shit.
He
Well,
goes
yeah.
to there's this place wherever he lived, because he was high life man living on colony, but not anymore. They erased his memory and made him some factory worker
Okay.
to make synthetic like robots, because that's what
Yeah.
kind of what the whole thing is.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
waiting. They're gonna trip him in time. The government will use them, recall him. But but he gets tripped before that because he ends up going to this place where you can get, like, instead of going on a vacation,
Mm-hmm.
you can have one implanted into your
Okay.
mind.
So like you
Okay.
were
Yeah,
already
so-
there.
Yeah, but with
He-
him already having
He
memory wipe
yeah,
or whatever
so
it
no,
is.
what he said is the only thing is you can't have a memory if it's true.
Okay.
And what he chose was secret agent.
All right.
That's what he was.
Oh shit.
And it completely fucked everything up. Cops came in, shot everyone up, and he kind of got triggered right there. And he started fighting for his life, started running, ran home to his wife, said, "I killed them all."
Oh god.
And then she
Okay.
she realized what happened.
Or
And
gets notified or is
She
tipped off that he's been triggered.
yeah,
Okay.
and
So she knew all along and just wasn't allowed to
yeah,
tell him?
she's there to watch him.
Okay.
She's a government plant to him.
Okay,
to
so
watch
it's
him.
he thinks it's
Yeah,
his wife, but it's
'cause
actually not.
He was
Alrighty.
able to, yeah, because he by what because he don't remember nothing. He was wiped out and put into the colony workforce. What they had done originally was he was a government agent that infiltrated this resistance.
Yeah.
And then taken away from the resistance, like, I don't know how they played it off, taking him away from him, but then they just erased him. And
Okay. Yeah.
he's being held because he's going to be used to be pulled in time. He was going to be pulled back to use for knowledge or something, or to go back in, and they were going to.
something about a key.
Okay.
Yeah. There's some big thing about.
And there's like
Okay.
a whole thing, like it's called the no zone. It's toxic. You can't go out there.
Alrighty.
And there's only two places you can go on the planet, and it's like directly
Like
Through
through the
planet.
core, because
So
you go
it's
through
A
the
to
core of
B.
the planet.
Yeah. You're shooting straight through the planet.
Oh
and
shit.
it's-
Okay.
Yeah, there's an elevator that goes through the planet. There's like zero gravity somewhere
Yeah,
in there.
it gets real it's kind of fucking dumb at a point. It's okay because it mixes up shit. And if you've seen the first one, it really like Bubba was saying earlier, he had to watch it twice
Oh, yeah.
because
It-
he knew the
So it's
first one.
basically extremely convoluted.
Yes.
So the dude's
Yeah.
basically a sleeper agent.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
that's
Essentially.
basically what it is. But he ends up turning on his government.
Okay.
Is
okay,
what ends up
okay.
happening is the way because he is triggered by the recall memory at the place to get that vacation memory.
Okay, yeah, and he chose secret agent, so it just
he's not working for the government. He's against them because
They're
he's believing that he's a part of the resistance.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's
so he
what's
thinks he switched
recalled,
sides.
really.
And then honestly, it was a good call because what the government was doing was killing all of the citizens of colony and replacing them with robots.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
it was for the better, you know.
Okay,
and stuff.
so, alrighty, I get
It's
it.
kind of like in the original, Arnold Schwarzenegger was basically the same guy. He had a memory, his memory erased, but he was from Mars. He was on
Okay.
the colony that they colonized Mars, and he had infiltrated this resistance group to the Quahog or whatever his guy. Cohagen.
Okay.
He ruled the place basically, and oxygen was their main thing up there because you had to produce it, right?
Yeah.
And stuff, and there was aliens that set some type of mechanism up, and if you set it off, it went into the planet and it created an atmosphere
Okay.
and stuff, and that's what they were trying to keep from, and the big secret and everything. Arnold Schwarzenegger, instead of coming back and being friends with the government, Cohagen like he was, he
Yeah.
ended up doing the planet basically a favor, and Cohagen dies, and big thing.
Okay.
But see, that's what that was. But they didn't use Mars in the
No, they
recall
just-
new one. It's all about the Earth.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's weird. That's what makes it kind of dumb.
They don't really expand on that point at
There's
all.
no Mars involved in.
No, it's
I don't
Earth
even know if you
and-
can go to Mars yet.
Probably not because the
So, was it-
planet's like fuck.
Yeah, I mean it's they're struggling just to survive at the moment. I don't even know if space travel is even.
So it's basically like a robot early sci-fi film.
Yeah. Imagine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like they were just
Here,
getting
I'm gonna
robots
put
down.
it in easier terms for you. Imagine Far Cry with robots.
Okay.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. But you know what? It's better, and it's a good movie that you can actually follow along with. That in action movies, that's hard to find really anymore. They're getting kind of stupid with.
They're getting really convoluted, really long,
Yeah.
and just really fucking weird.
I know one action movie that a lot of people have watched, and it's critically acclaimed, is Ocean's 11 and whatnot. That whole Ocean series.
Yeah,
The
I've
ones
never
about
watched
the
them.
heists.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
see,
I've never seen them either.
I've never
but-
seen the originals, nor have I seen the remakes of any of them. I mean, the old black and white.
There's a
I think
lot
it was
of
with.
movies
I
now
think
that
the
I'm-
original Ocean 11s. I may be mistaken, but I do believe it's like the Rat Pack was in it. The Frank Sinatra, your Dean Martin, and them kind of guys. And I believe. He has one eye.
Forrest Whitaker.
No.
Forrest Whitaker doesn't have one.
I don't know.
Seems Sammy Davis Jr.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had his name on the tip of my tongue. I couldn't think of it. But yeah, Sammy Davis Jr. You know, he donated. The reason how I remember him is because he had a blind person. He donated an eye to someone
Okay.
so they could see. They didn't have like one bad eye and one good eye. They couldn't see at all or something like that. And he gave them one of his eyes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, Sammy, that whatever demons he may have had or whatever. For the most part, what you knew of him, is public known, like being a regular person as me. He seemed like a decent guy. Did a
Yeah.
lot of good things. But the Rat Pack had a lot of, connotations to him. He knew mobsters, and it was known fact they all associate with mobsters because there's pictures with them hanging out, sitting at tables.
Yeah.
So.
Now, I got a
So
question.
they kind of, the Ocean's 11, I can imagine that one's probably pretty good. If you've seen the other ones, I don't think they're probably that good.
Yeah. So, since we're on like, I don't know, highest sci-fi with Total Recall and all that, what would we consider the escape to like New York or the escape to LA? What was those? Like, were they post-apocalyptic? Was this like after apocalypse happened, or was it?
No,
like,
no. What
Okay.
it was breakdown of society to where
Okay,
the
okay.
government became overruled.
Dystopia.
So like anarchist dystopia.
almost like what we're getting right now.
I'd
In a
hope
way,
not.
in a way, it's where they're dictating to the government's telling you everything. They're making rules that
Okay.
they're not doing them the way they're supposed to.
So it was more so where the country evolved into a complete
And-
dictatorship
Yeah,
around.
in like New York, well, like it is now, just a cesspool,
Mm-hmm.
and well, Manhattan, because I believe it was there because of it's an island. It was easy to block off. Well, they just turned it into a penitentiary.
Okay.
And they just, instead of trying to house everybody into these places, it was either just to dump them all there. Who survives, survives. Who doesn't, who doesn't.
Okay.
You're exiled. You're done. Then that was the New York version. Then when they did it for L.A., L.A. became where the president became president for life term.
Okay.
And he started, basically, LA had an earthquake that he predicted or something like that. So they turned that into its penitentiary but the key with that one is when you got sent, you could sent there, or whenever you were convicted of a crime,
yeah.
you were stripped of your citizenship to the United States.
Oh.
You were no longer a citizen of the United States. And as you're going along to the deportation centers, what they call it in the second Escape from LA,
Yeah.
this is what really spooks you out, is they give you a choice. You can go to the island, or you can do self-termination. They have like electric chairs
Oh.
and,
Okay. Yeah.
stuff like that. And you walk down and you get dropped off in the island, and it's basically good luck,
Mhm.
You, like I said, you survive, you survive. That's basically, it was a way to get rid of the dredge of society.
That kind of reminds me of Death Race. It's,
Now, Death Race is different because it's actual jails that
Yeah.
you get a chance to get out of. You don't get a chance out of this. You lose everything in LA. This is just dirt. Instead of having penitentiaries, they don't have jails no more. It's all, whatever crime it is, you're going there. And there's no year sentence. You're done. You just go there. You're done. You're kicked out of the country. It's over for you.
yeah, the reason it reminds me of Death Race a little bit is because, or technically Death Race would have been inspired off of that, is
Oh, okay.
it's all prisoners.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
And
yeah, I see what you're
they're
saying.
only there if it's for life, if you did a serious crime.
Okay.
Yeah, see.
Because I've never seen Death Race either.
Okay, well,
There's a
Death-
lot of movies.
Death
that,
Race, these cars had guns on them,
Mhm.
whole 9 steel plates, and they designed them and we could
like
had-
Mad Max style, or
Yes,
like, okay.
exactly like Mad Max style.
Okay.
And basically, what you did, you had to go around this course so many times, and
Sounds kind of like Twisted
and
Metal.
stuff. And as you went along, besides these other guys are trying to beat you,
Yeah.
as certain laps hit, there's certain obstacles that pop up, big
It gets, like,
cylinders.
rigged.
Yeah, there's certain challenges that come up too, and it also can take out competitors for you. That one, the first one, I don't know about any others. The first one I seen, it was actually pretty good.
It's all based off of one guy.
Is it?
Yeah, some guy that keeps winning, but I don't think he's. What it is they're portraying one that had won in the beginning, but they're like 2 guys deep into this now because he wears a mask all the time, like he got scorched in a flame or something.
okay.
So he wears like, is it a hockey mask? I am not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says.
A
Yeah,
hockey
it's a hockey
mask.
mask.
Okay, so he's so they're basically keeping the same body style, or body structure, height, and whatnot.
Okay.
And they just keep, because they never really, I don't think they're letting people out. I think winners really don't get to go. And hell, that's almost like a takeoff from an earlier movie, which was called, it was an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie too, where Running Man.
Running Man. I think
Yeah.
I've seen that one.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's basically where, like the Running Man, where if you won, you got to go free
Yeah.
and stuff, right? And these people, the ones they said that won didn't go free. They were dead in a closet somewhere. They found, you see it
Yeah.
in the movie and stuff. And basically, that's what Death Race was like. I think is they weren't getting, if you won. I don't think they were getting set free.
I don't
think
quite
it was
recall.
a lie. I think it was a lie too.
Because I don't remember if the dude who was sent to the prison was actually even a prisoner. I forgot what the whole thing was about.
Yeah, he was set up or some shit.
Yeah, he
it
ended
was
up
a
getting set
setup, but
Okay.
because he was a real good racer or some
Yeah.
shit. is what it was. He was actually a racer on the streets or out in society or some shit.
Okay, dokie.
But for that movie, yeah, that movie was all right. I liked it.
Yeah.
So, there's a new Resident Evil movie being made. I don't know if it came out or not. I guess it's
I
called.
think it did.
Yeah, well, I think it's called Welcome to Raccoon City.
I believe so.
Did you care for the original ones?
I'm not gonna lie. Yes, I did.
Did you? I did too. I do enjoy them as long as you take them away from the source material. I see. I
Yeah.
think if you can just be like, okay, it shares the name, but
It's just its own standalone thing.
yeah, it's really not something
Because
you can
honestly,
base off the game at all,
it's-
because it's completely action oriented. First off, and speaking of, I think a lot of the action scenes now, if you were to go back and watch them, are like really cheesy.
Oh, probably. I know the first one, the first
The first
Raccoon or the first Resident Evil movie.
yeah,
That one, it's still
it's
kind of scary.
Oh no, yeah. It was actually it tried. From what I remember when I watched it, it did try to
It
be
went
kind of
from-
a horror movie,
It
but
went from being a horror movie to kind of a
action horror to
It's like a-
action.
mind fuck
Mm-hmm.
to super action.
Oh
Because
yeah, definitely.
I think it was the second Resident Evil movie.
Mm-hmm.
All of her teammates came back to life, and they
Um,
tried to brainwash her again,
Yeah.
and it didn't work.
No, it did not. It
Because-
never does.
It turns out Alice has the T virus,
Mm-hmm.
and now the government wants her because she's immune to it.
Yeah, and she's the only one who can create a cure
And
for
then
it.
the last Resident Evil movie, I think it's Extinction.
Yeah.
Wesker is the president.
I've only seen Resident Evil, the second one, and Afterlife, and then there's Extinction. Is the fourth one.
I thought there were 6 of them.
I don't know how many there are, to be honest. But I hope, if we're being honest, that the new one follows the source material and actually
From what I've noticed, it does. The first one, Welcome to Raccoon City. I don't know if Leon's in it, but I know Claire is in it, and I think Chris is in it.
okay.
And it's not the same director, which is what a lot of people had a problem with.
Was the original director?
Was the director for the Resident Evil series, because
what he was an action director?
I don't know.
Okay, so I looked it up. There's Resident Evil Apocalypse, Extinction, Afterlife, Retribution, and then the final chapter.
Okay, the final chapter is the one where I thought they were gonna make another one because they zoom in and towards the end, and Wesker is the fucking president of the United States, and it's Alice and I think Chris Redfield. We're all in there, and they're having to fight off hordes of zombies.
Okay.
So that's what that was, and it was pretty interesting.
Was it? You actually got to see it with Papa, didn't you?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and you know what I found weird?
He enjoyed it.
He enjoyed it.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
and especially since he doesn't really care for those types of movies. And
Yeah, like a horror, bloody, gory
Yeah.
zombie movie.
did they at least seem to try more so through the movies? Because I
It
noticed a
still
lot
got
of
the
them,
weird
like kind of Matrix style, action
because
scenes.
I think the whole thing is the director was hardcore making it about Mila Kunis,
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
because him and
yeah,
he would only
It's his wife, wasn't
yeah,
it?
it's his wife. I think she only works in films that he produces, or
Okay.
minus a few,
That's kind of skeevy.
Well,
like the new
that's
Monster
how
Hunter
some are.
movie.
I have not seen it.
She's in it,
Is she? But did he direct it?
and yes, he directed it.
Is it good?
It's on sale for $5.
Okay, then that's clearance bargain bin sale. Probably not
Uh,
that good.
You know though, on movies though, you know what I like to do. My most favorite movies of all times are always been the comedy ones.
Oh yeah, definitely. I
Now-
love comedies.
And I'll tell you what, as growing up, especially pre-teen
Mhm.
years and teen years, we had gotten cable with the head like HBO, Showtime, to it, when I was growing up
Yeah.
and stuff. And I got to see some of the, I think they're the greatest movies in the world, but everybody else, they're B movies.
Yeah.
But that stupid ass.
Yeah, I know exactly what
like
you mean.
National Lampoons.
Oh, I love those.
You can't go wrong with a National Lampoon if
Oh, no, you
if
can't.
you're the type that doesn't mind watching they like some, not the spoofers but more just a
Raunchy
slapstick.
comedy.
Yeah, raunchy
Raunchy,
Cheesy.
kind of the kind of sexual humor and all that. I love those types of movies. My favorite types of comedies are stoner movies. I think Grandma's Boy is one of my favorites.
Yeah, well,
This-
really any comedy can become a stoner movie. You know what I mean? Because in a lot of them, I watched High as a Kite laughing my ass off.
Oh yeah,
And,
definitely.
and I'll tell you what, even though that kind of reflects on the type of person I was then, you know, especially the humor side of me, was that a lot of times especially before I was in the pot or anything, a lot of that stuff I watched, and I used to crack up about, like Sam Kinison.
Yeah.
When I first saw Sam Kinison, I was howling. The things he said, because in my era, you didn't hear things like that.
Yeah.
And it was like, holy cow, you know, he just goes on these rants, and it was just hilarious. I thought it was the greatest thing since sliced cheese.
I know what you mean, because I kind of felt the same exact way when I heard Dane Cook for the first
Oh
time.
my God.
Like nowadays, I don't really find his humor too funny, but back then when I first
I
heard
do.
some of it's hilarious
to me, it's
and
classic.
I think it's funny because it's stupid, it's extremely sexual, and it's how my jokes used to be when I was in like high school, and that's still the jokes I think are funny. I mean, I think poop-based puns are hilarious, so
You can't go wrong with a fart.
you can't go wrong with a poop joke, man. I mean, what about our greatest hits album? Half of them are based off poop.
Yeah, I didn't watch too many of those comedy movies. More of cheesy-ish TV shows.
No, see now, TV shows they didn't for my era they didn't get around with that.
No, not
That one
really.
went down. See, like the movies that I really enjoyed were like I said with the
National
National
Lampoons.
Lampoons. I also liked the ones that would be the college party movie ones. That was a big thing.
Oh, yeah,
beach,
definitely.
Beach going on adventure parties. You know, the youth movies, I guess they would
Mm-hmm.
consider them nowadays as categorized and stuff. Those were badass because it's things you want to do. Of course, you're not. No, I don't know nobody that I've had parties at grandma's house. Believe me, in
Yeah.
high school and whatnot. But I've never ever had parties where you see these places and there's people everywhere and there's all these activities going on and I've never seen a party like that.
Oh yeah, no.
Been
neither
to
have I.
one, anything like
I-
that, but it was so cool to see. They played off our generation, like Weird Science.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's a classic movie right there.
Yeah, and how many people, most people that you know, don't have a house that big. Or if they
No.
do, there's no way in hell they're going to go away like on the way these people did and
Yeah.
leave a house alone.
Oh
you
God,
know,
no.
but that was the coolest thing in the world, the party and stuff like that. And the fact that these dumb wives actually get a leg up on the quote unquote cool guys.
Yeah.
Then you got your breakfast club. That was cool as hell. Nobody's gonna do that in the library.
No.
No.
not
I'm
at all.
sorry, you ain't gonna get away. I don't
That-
know about
nobody's
nowadays,
having
but
a-
you weren't gonna get away with that
Yeah,
shit.
you're not having a heartwarming coming to life story in the library with a
yeah,
bunch of friends.
no,
It's
you
not gonna
know.
happen. You're
The shenanigans will be shenanigans, but they ain't gonna be like on the order of how that went down. But
Oh,
it was
God,
cool
no.
to see. That's what I liked about the comedies. It was so cool.
things
to
that
see
you
some-
wanted to do but you couldn't do.
Yeah,
The comedy movies I ended up watching a lot of were, I know, sounds dumb, but I really like Adam Sandler movies.
I was about to say Adam Sandler movies. I like a lot of them too. Adam Sandler. Have you listened to his comedy? His
No.
like stand up? It's fucking hilarious.
There's some I've heard because you've showed me bits and pieces,
Oh, yeah.
and so has Dad.
it's hilarious. I suggest looking all of it up.
I've
His-
never
it-
really been big on when it comes to stand-up. I can't just stand there and watch a dude.
That's why you go and just
Yeah.
go through
Well,
it on
his
Spotify and
his
listen to him, bro.
stand-up is
It's
yeah,
raunchy. There are a lot of
it's a-
stories,
yeah, I don't
basically.
really-
it's
yeah,
skits.
It was okay, but
I think it's hilarious, but
I
that's
don't know.
my type of humor showing through. Like, dude, The Waterboy is a
Oh
really
my
good
God,
movie.
yeah, it is.
Now I'm blanking.
His
out of all
movies
of
are
them.
great.
Oh yeah,
But
Grown Ups
I'll tell-
too.
yeah, the
Little
grown up.
Nicky.
I like how
Little
he.
Nicky is amazing.
I like he went from Billy Madison making
There's
these
another one.
goofballs
Mhm.
things and then morphed in. And if you pay attention to him, he has that Happy Gilmore production company. If you pay attention, his buddies,
They're all in
you'll
the
know
same
who they
movies.
are.
Oh, yeah.
because you'll see a Happy Madison in there.
Yeah.
Or Happy.
Happy
no, yes,
Gilmore.
Happy,
Happy Madison.
Happy Gilmore.
Madison. That's what it is. Happy Madison logo with the golf ball
Yeah.
thing in there. He's pretty
Excellent.
good about keeping his friends working and everything.
Yeah,
he's
it's like
he's
him,
done well for himself. I
Rob
give it to him.
Schneider,
David Spade.
David Spade.
Kevin.
Yeah.
Kevin. What's his last name?
Kevin Nealon.
Yeah. No. Kevin.
Spade.
No, not Spade. That's David.
I don't know his name.
He's a big guy. He was in the King of Queens though.
Oh, Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Kevin, I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
the big guy.
He was found off of that TV America's
Queens?
Funniest Videos
Oh,
or
okay.
something. He was discovered on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And who else? Yeah, you already said Rob Schneider.
Yep.
yeah.
And David Spade, and then Kevin, whatever his last name is. I
Well,
can't think of the
what
other
about
ones.
what about the guys that weren't in Grown Ups that he's worked with? They did, like, you'll find them in Grandma's Boy.
Yeah, the one dude with
um,
the weird eye.
Yeah,
Oh.
them guys, they're
Yeah.
part of his crew.
Yeah.
Too, you know, because they do a lot. You'll see them pop. They were in there. They were the guys against them, but you see them in everything.
Oh,
they
yeah.
always play secondaries if you pay attention.
Mhm.
They get it. They've been thrown bones, but not like he's done for the bigger names that are his buddies.
Oh yeah, I think my favorite movie by Adam Sandler has to be The Waterboy though, because dude, when he's in the class and he's with the Colonel Sanders looking teacher, and he's like, my mama said, alligators are so ornery because they got all them teeth and no toothbrush to brush them with.
No toothbrush.
And the teacher's like, your mama's an idiot. That was my favorite scene right there. That was
man.
hilarious. And the Gatorade water
H2O.
sucks.
Oh, you want to get some good lines from movies? Watch Easy Money with Joe Pesci and Rodney Dangerfield. That is a great movie. There's so much. He has so many. Him and especially Joe Pesci has so many great lines in it, in stuff that you can just throw out at people all the time.
Mm-hmm. I know Rodney Dangerfield's. He's in a comedy movie, you know it's gonna be great.
Yeah, I liked him in Back to School too. That was funnier than hell with Sam Kinison screaming at him because McCarthy wouldn't stand up and let and it's like,
Yeah.
holy cow.
Speaking of producers that keep like groups in films that
Yeah.
they do,
Yeah.
Quentin Tarantino
Oh
is
God,
known
foot
to do
fetish
that
Tino.
with a lot of the actors that he's worked
Oh
with.
yeah, He is.
He likes to recycle his actors a lot into his stuff. He does. I don't.
He does
like
have quite a few good films, though, I have to admit.
His personal crap he puts out, stuff like that, I don't care for. But he does have a few good movies I like. Reservoir Dogs is good. He did.
Pulp Fiction's another one.
That's a really good one.
I
he's-
enjoyed the Kill Bill series. Those
Yeah,
were
the
good.
2 Kill Bills were good. He didn't do Natural Born Killers, did he?
I'm not entirely too
No,
sure.
that was that movie is good, but was that a messed up movie?
Uh-huh.
Woody played it good though. Woody played that one. Oh Lord.
One of my favorite movies, like unironically, and I didn't even know it was produced by Quentin Tarantino at the time, was Inglourious Bastards.
Oh, Inglourious Bastards.
I
okay.
love that movie. Christoph Waltz is one of my favorite actors.
It's a really good movie. I enjoy it. It's just there's that one scene, and it lasts like I don't know 20 frames, and you just get a full face shot of a dude just fucking a fat chick, really
man.
angrily.
Oh,
And
yeah, the German guy.
My English teacher, we were doing the Holocaust and everything, and she's like, if you want to see a movie that portrays if assassination attempt on Hitler actually succeeded, here's one to watch. And I'm like, okay, I know Thomas has this movie, I'll watch it. And I wasn't ready for that. I was in like the 8th grade, and all I'm seeing is just that. I was scarred, buddy. Somebody should have warned me,
That-
because it comes out of left field.
Yeah, it does.
It does, and there's no reason to be there. Like
There's scenes like that in all of Quentin Tarantino's movies, though.
there
is the
is.
thing.
Now that I realize it, there is, and a lot of them. And another thing I don't like is the fact that he likes to start his movies from the end and then play them through. Because
It is a little odd.
yeah, and especially since all I do is smoke weed, I'm over here confused. Like I just missed the entire movie, and no, it just started.
Yeah, Inglourious Bastards was a good movie,
Mhm.
and regardless of its undertones, Django was a good movie too. It was very well done.
Oh yeah, and especially what's his face, tall,
He
dark,
should
and
have got a
handsome.
fucking. He should have got a
Dude,
Grammy
he
for that.
actually broke that glass with his
And-
hand.
Yeah, with his hand,
Mm-hmm.
and kept it in the.
Of course, Quentin Tarantino's gonna keep it in. He's fucking weird, man.
Well, to me, he's played that mixing up scene shit too much.
Oh yeah. Oh definitely.
It worked in Reservoir Dogs. It worked in Pulp Fiction. You know what I'm saying? Kill Bill was cool. That was a little differenter than the other two as
yeah.
far as a little bit, not by much. You know
Those
what I'm
ones
saying?
hit it off
But
hard.
he jumped. In Kill Bill, he did more to jumping around to these people's backgrounds and then
Oh,
go
yeah.
back into each one's. A little bit different than it was somewhat on the Reservoir Dogs style, because how you find out who they are, Mr. Pink and all.
Yeah.
But Pulp Fiction just basically fucked you. It jumped around. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
definitely did,
You're
yes.
it had more, I guess, deepness in it
Mhm.
than the other ones. You know, because Reservoir Dogs is cool. It's a really, really good movie.
I'm gonna have to watch it because
and
I haven't
stuff.
seen it.
Oh, you need to. It's a good one. It's just you need to make sure you remember the fucking names,
Okay.
because they don't go. Well, it doesn't matter. They only go by color names.
Mm-hmm.
You know, pink, red, blue, Mr. White. But there's Misters and shit like that. So, but he keeps up with that style. It's okay to do a couple of them, but leave it alone at a point.
Oh,
It's-
yeah.
It's like in a lyric of Eminem's. You got to know when your run is done, man, and call
Yeah.
it. You know, and that's what he needs to do. It's time to call that style out.
Oh, definitely.
You know.
The newest movie he produced, I heard, was really, really good.
What-
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, I haven't seen
I
it.
didn't.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen it either. I really want
I haven't
to.
heard of it either.
Okay.
I think another movie that's, I mean, it's not based off of anything Quentin Tarantino whatsoever, but it's a really good movie, though. Oh, well, it'd be sad. Is The Green Mile?
Oh yeah.
I absolutely love that movie.
The book is
It's
better.
okay.
I love the book too. I have read that book so many times. That book got me through English in high school. Okay, I wrote my book report on it every quarter of every semester on that book, and got an A+ on it. And I was rewriting stuff.
all of his books got me through middle school and
Mhm.
early high school.
Stephen King, I love his books, and The Green Mile was my favorite book, and they did the movie really well, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd say I'm not a fan of Stephen King's. I never cared for his stuff at all.
It's a very
The
acquired taste.
The first dosage of him was Psycho and Cujo. So
Yeah.
and also because of my dyslexia and whatnot, I didn't read
Mhm.
books like that as it was so hard to read. It took so long to get a sentence done. I
Yeah.
mean, my God. But the movies was my introduction to his shit, and it turned me off.
Yeah, it's a very acquired
But
taste.
like I said, I'm a comedy type person
Mhm.
anyway. I prefer a comedy movie
Yeah,
over
but
that.
I do really enjoy The Green Mile, and a lot of that movie is just really sad, especially
Very.
John Coffey's story, because
Delacroix's story is kind of sad.
Delacroix, especially,
Yeah, it was a good movie. Another really good movie that I wish they would make a third one of.
is
With the two Irish guys,
Boondock Saints.
Boondock
Oh,
Saints. They
Now-
need to make. I
I haven't seen
That's
that either yet.
badass. I've never seen two dudes kick ass like that. To where you just see their ethnicity of Irishness in them. Oh man, come to the. It makes it an awesome movie, and the way it's manipulated is some shit, boy. I'll tell you what.
Yeah,
They do need to come with a third.
because the ending of the second one was
Fuck
such.
you, man. That's some bullshit.
I haven't seen them.
It's awesome.
Oh, we have
it's
to
a
watch 'em.
badass ending, but it's one where like Bubba says, you're looking for a third. You need a third.
Oh, definitely. One series of films I will never watch, and I have no clue why, considering that I love medieval fantasy, is The Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit. I can't. I don't know. I don't know why, but I won't watch them. I refuse.
They're good.
I've
but
seen them. I've seen them all, and yes, they are good. But I'm not going for
They're
the
dated.
I'm not going for the extended. I'm not gonna rewatch them.
It doesn't
Yeah,
make
it-
much of a difference.
They're not. in my opinion, I don't think they're good movies, but I do know they are good.
You gotta get into his lore and all that stuff too.
And
you know
you
what
think
I mean?
would, especially since medieval fantasy is my shit. I love medieval fantasy, and
well,
it's
look at all the jokes about it though. How they're walking here. Now
we're
they're
taking the
walking
hobbits
there.
to Isengard.
They're walking here. Now they're walking there. You know, I mean, it's all jokes about
yeah.
it, but because it's you got to get into what the whole mechanism's about, and
Yeah.
it's not. I guess like on how on Netflix and Hulu's and stuff, you got those 90-minute movies.
Yeah.
They put on. Basically, that's what a lot of people end up are more prone to. Or 90-minute or something. You got a beginning and end to. There's not a lot to worry about. It's spoon-fed to you quick.
That's also another thing. I don't have a problem with like long movies. It's just I don't like those movies. And like Aragon, those are great. I do enjoy those movies, and that's fantasy.
I know a
movies,
lot
really,
of the
to be honest.
people who read the Lord of the Rings books
I haven't read them either.
hate the movies.
Also,
Well, you'll always have the comparison of books to movies that there is no comparison.
Because
The book is so far vast better and stuff like that. But you got to figure, like I just said about 90-minute movies, you got to cram so much into, because people are only going to be able to hold out so long. It's like I found doing the books on audio, when I do those and stuff, it's okay. I can get into it and go with it.
Yeah.
But the person's making it interesting. It's,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like you're reading it and stuff like that yourself, except for in the movies, you don't got that time frame. Because the books on audio, it's like 3 hours to 4 hours. It depends on what it is.
Oh, yeah.
But on the ones I usually listen to, if you try to listen to the whole book through, let's say a long road trip, a 5-hour road trip, you can get a book in. But who's going to sit there straight 5 hours to get the substance of that book in a movie?
Yeah.
You know, even though it is action and it's,
The Blade Runner movies, though. Have you seen them?
No.
I seen the very first one
I thought they were actually pretty
with
decent.
Harrison Ford, but it's been so long, it's mucked up. I can vision certain parts of it. But other than it's what it was all about, not really. I don't even remember what it was about.
I don't either, because I remember being very young when I saw it. But speaking of Harrison Ford, I enjoy a lot of his movies, and especially the Indiana Jones movies. Even the Crystal Skull one that not everyone liked, I actually thought it was pretty decent, and thought that if Shia LaBeouf was up to it, could take on the role.
I don't think that he would.
I don't either, but I thought...
Can't keep his ass clean, man. Get off the drugs and alcohol and all this damn crazy acting.
Yeah, he got a little strange.
Man, I tell you what, I don't know if it's because we're just common folk or what, or country folk, I guess, if you want to call us that. I don't get I guess it's considered success, how they just jump in every goddamn thing and demise themselves at every damn turn.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I understand people want to cater to them for favoritisms and whatnots, but man, you got to be the type of strong-headed person. Be like, man, here's what I do. I show up, I put in the hours you need for the filming and whatnots, and then I go home.
Yep.
Did you care for the Star Wars movies?
I liked all the way up to the new ones, but I did like the Solo movie. I'm not gonna lie.
Once Disney took over?
It's not that I don't like them. It's just they have nothing to do with Star Wars.
Yeah, it's almost they've gone into like trying to gather a huge audience. You know, your laymen's, you know, the ones that can't tell you much about Star Wars.
Yeah.
Is what it seems like Disney wouldn't try to do. Adding in more characters, and I'm not going to say diversity. That ain't really the big thing about it. It's more trying to touch out to just every damn person under the sun. Is what
I will admit
they're doing.
When it comes to developing their games, that one of the most recent games they made is called Jedi: The Fallen Order.
I got that recently for free. I don't know how, but
that is a good
is it
good game.
It has that one kid from Shameless in it.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that guy. He played Ian.
That's how they keep plugging these movies.
And the thing is,
all
like,
this
I've
stuff.
been looking for a decent Star Wars game to play because I like the theme of Star Wars. I like what it could be, but I don't care for any of the movies. They're not my thing.
Okay.
The only movie I liked was Revenge of the Sith, and then the first one.
Oh.
And a lot of people say those were the worst ones, that I'm bad for liking them, and I'm not a true Star Wars
Yeah.
fan. I'm not even trying
This
to.
is almost
like-
completely disconnected
Mhm.
from the main storyline.
Oh,
other than
that doesn't mean anything to
what,
me.
the video game? Or
yeah,
the movie?
Yeah.
This is other
Okay,
than the
well,
fact that this is after Revenge of the Sith.
Okay, I'll tell you what, boys. Since you guys are starting up and crossing over with a video game, how about we stop here and then we'll talk about some of the video games we
All right.
like.
Yeah, sure.
And please, boys, keep it in layman's and touch on some of the video games I may know about. Okay, remember,
Alrighty.
I am getting down on the other side of being past the overhill.
Alrighty.
Okay, folks, we'll be back after this commercial.
Rello Radio Show, Monday nights at 7 p.m. Central Time. DJ CO1.
Welcome back. We're going to switch it up a little bit. Now we're going to be talking a little bit about video games, and I'm going to reiterate on what I was talking about before, Jedi: The Fallen Order.
Yeah.
It's a Star Wars game. It's essentially disconnected from the lore a little bit, aside from it's set after the third movie. And
After
before,
Revenge of the Sith?
Yeah,
Okay.
and before the fourth, after the Jedi started getting purged from the galaxy.
Oh, okay, before when Darth Vader gets Leia.
It's when he takes over that
Oh,
this all starts
okay,
to happen.
it's when
he starts
it's-
to hunt down all of the Jedi. That's what execute Order 66. That's what Order 66 was. It was the Jedi purge.
Right.
So
Oh,
they're-
okay, so this is basically what movie should have been put between the whatever, I guess the third one and the fourth one. then.
Yeah.
But it's you said it's disconnected. How so?
It's a whole new character.
Yeah,
whole new
it's-
set of characters.
Yeah, I know
that
the
go to
main
different
character is
worlds.
Ian Gallagher from Shameless. So.
Yeah, and only a few of the like canon characters are even involved,
Mm-hmm.
and that would be Darth Vader, who you only see briefly, and
Oh,
then
okay. It's like almost cameo, so to speak.
Basically.
yeah, and then a Wookiee named Tarful,
Okay.
who
But
only
but
gets
to
seen
you,
once
it's a
in the
Wookiee.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, because I think the only Star Wars games I've ever played was one on the N64, and I don't remember what it was.
Pod Racers probably.
Yep, there we go. That's exactly
Good
what
old
it was.
N64 with
Yep.
the
The three-prong controller.
yeah
That I
Those-
was so confused on how to
Oh,
use when
I'll-
I first saw it. I was
I'll
like,
tell you what, they make a third-party like actual controller now, and anyone that uses one of those N64s swears by it apparently. So I don't know, maybe that's something I should invest in. But that was one of the only Star Wars, and then the Lego Star Wars games.
yeah,
and
those
I'll-
were fun.
I'll tell you what, you can't go wrong with those Lego Star Wars games. Right before they had the Lego characters start talking, so where they basically were just miming all the actions. The comedy that they were able to portray with those Lego characters were just top notch.
Yeah,
it was,
the
it
Lego
was
games
great.
are all pretty decent.
All of them, and even the ones when they started including voice acting and whatnot. I was a little iffy when I first started playing those ones. I'm like, well, how are they going to incorporate the humor? And they still brought it. You have all those background characters just doing goofy shit and all that stuff, and you still have all the humor for it. And yeah, Star Wars, it's a give or take type of thing.
See, how you guys got these video games, like you just said, the evolution of Star Wars, whatnot. For me, in the beginning of video games, and I'm talking pre-Atari, going to the actual arcade,
Yeah.
because believe it or not, arcade games actually did have version 2s and 3s that come out. Obviously,
yeah.
they just can't switch out a card and change it and the game goes over.
Nah,
They
it's the
actually
whole motherboard
put a
and
whole
whatnot.
nother game out, you
Yeah.
know, and stuff. And there was 2 or 3 that ended up having, if I'm not mistaken, on arcade games, and I'll come up with the name of them, but I believe they had 3 episodes to them, basically, I guess,
Yeah.
that furthered on. And one was, it's like, it was called they made a cartoon, like Dungeons and Dragons, but King Arthur.
I think I know what you're talking.
Arthur's-
Dragon's Lair.
No, Arthur something. And it
Okay.
was very generically, it's an arcade game
Okay.
and stuff. And basically what you did is you fought dragons, and then you go through castles and stuff in the first one. And then the second one, you basically they evolutioned it. But
Okay.
But that was like the introduction for me. That's what you guys would have kind of had, how you guys have these video games that keep
getting,
putting on more and more and moving on.
Yeah.
That was the beginning for me, because in Atari, when we got Atari games,
Yeah.
holy cow, Atari didn't put out, like, at least in my era in the 70s, you didn't get like Pitfall 2, Pitfall 3, Pitfall 4.
No, you didn't get any continuations. They were all just
I
one
think
and done.
there may have been a Pitfall 2.
Mhm.
There may have been. I'm not going to say there's not, and somebody slam us about it.
No, there is a.
I'm just saying I don't know,
Mhm.
but like Circus,
Mhm.
and and then you got to remember, these are some generic
Oh,
looking
yeah.
games. These are what probably you guys nowadays could program up yourselves in 20 minutes. But-
Nowadays, yeah, you
but-
totally could.
But you had like tank combat with tanks and
Oh, yeah.
planes, and you had you're not going to create a bunch of versions of this,
Nah,
so
it's-
these
it's
games
all
that
one
we
and
would
dones at those
so
points.
basically all they did was try to cover every type of game they could think of doing. They even had one like Circus. You know what that was basically? Is where you had these stupid round spinner knobs, which were hard as hell to use, and it was basically try to make two guys out of dots. Then they went on a board, hit a
you were on a teeter-totter, jumping up and down,
yeah,
collecting
and,
stuff.
And they had the colored squares going above, and you'd have a red, a blue, and a yellow line, and it'd bounce up and hit them and pop them, supposedly.
Yeah.
Pop them, and then you try to clear in the board and whatnot. That was it. How are you going to put out a version 2?
There is no version 2. And they have released more Pitfall games, but it's not on the Atari. They're on I think the Super Nintendo.
That would be evolution of gaming.
Yeah.
To where I'm talking about the Ataris. Just the Atari 5200.
And I think my earliest memories is of games of like that era is I don't think of anything of the Atari, but arcade definitely like Galaga, Galaxian, like
Oh, yeah.
Centipede and Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man,
yeah.
Pac-Man Jr.
Yeah, so
and
you
all that
guys
stuff,
would have
and
been
like Dig Dug.
You guys have been exposed more to the arcade games that were popular.
Oh, yeah,
that
definitely.
actually people played. So these guys obviously would have kept them around.
Yeah, there was
to
this
be
one,
used.
I don't remember what it was called, but it was like you're going through like this castle, you get to the top. I think it might have been called Dark Tower or some shit like that. But I really enjoyed that one. It was an arcade game.
Burger Time was always cool.
Burger Time, and then there was Donkey Kong, and
I'll tell you what was cool, and you could probably still find it, and it was one of the first arcade ones that had boarded was Tron.
Tron. Oh yeah.
You had a knob, you had a ball, you had a joystick, you had and buttons too, because you to do things, and drive the car. If you've seen Tron, the original Tron, some of the games that were involved in it. That's basically what the arcade game was. You're
Yeah.
doing it, and then you try to kill the thing at the end, and stuff like that. And that was really a cool video game. So I don't know if you guys have been exposed to it, but also it's a dated game as far as it's about a movie. You know what I mean? To have it's probably be worth some money at this point in time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But other ones, like there was one game I remember playing, and I don't know how popular it was. It was around '84. It had to be around that era because the Olympics was in Los Angeles at that time.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there was a video game that came out after the Olympics that summer. It was at our local bowling alley, and it was called, Olympics.
Yeah.
And it had, holy cow, I think every
sport.
summer Olympic game on it
Okay.
and stuff. And I can't remember if you could choose them all or if you could only choose certain ones, and then you had to do so well, and then it'd open other ones. I don't remember exactly how it worked. But what it was, there was no joystick to none of this. It was all buttons you pushed. And what you would do, like for running, like let's say you're going to run the sprint at 440, I guess is one. that's a straight run.
Yeah.
You'd take a pencil and you like at the bowling alley where we were at, they were over by where the little food stand is, where you can get hamburgers and whatnot. So we had to ask the lady, hey, can we borrow your pencil? And she'd give you a, unused pencil that has been sharpened yet. And you put it between over the top of your two middle fingers, and your pinky and your index finger you use to push it up and down on, and you could do it really quick on those two buttons instead of trying to hit them like that, because you had to do it on that and also push a third button that was, there's all button configurations.
Oh yeah.
Right, and do this, and you could cheat like that and get going really quick and stuff. There was a lot of neat tricks you could do, and there was times that there was some video games you would play and that was one of them that at a point, because people would figure out tricks and whatnot, so that the buttons, you get so frustrated and they wouldn't work. Cubert, the joystick on that would give you a fit if it was, been there for a year or two. The Cubert,
nice
you'd start
joystick.
seeing a lot of video games being broke. That's why you would see them switch them out. They never switch them out unless the game really gave them a fit.
Oh yeah, definitely. And move a little forward into gaming future. My fondest memories is of the GameCube and shit. And I think my favorite games from the GameCube had to have been Ty the Tasmanian Tiger.
Oh
It
yeah.
was a good one.
The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, Scooby-Doo: 100 Nights of Frights, and I
That's
absolutely love that game.
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite games.
I
of all
loved
time.
watching you guys play that one.
That used to give me a freaking migraine from thinking so hard.
The Scooby-Doo one.
Yeah, I'd be sitting there because you have to do weird platforming.
Oh
and-
yeah. I to this day I still have yet to beat the game, and I am still trying to. I've gotten so close to the end, and then my
tell you
Wii gave
what.
out.
That right there is a game that they could give a little makeover for
Oh,
the better controls.
Oh, definitely. They did. The company who made it, THQ, the toy headquarters company, they did redo the SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom. They
Yeah.
remade that, like a whole remake for newer consoles and everything.
Yep.
So I have a little bit of hope that they could possibly remake the Scooby-Doo
They
one.
also redid Destroy All Humans,
Oh yeah, I heard about
the
that.
first one. It's literally the same game, just a little bit different.
Oh. Well, see, that's where, I dropped off from video games. I wasn't into
GameCube.
them, playing them like that. I like the arcade. I like a little bit of Atari, and I didn't spend hours at Atari. But like when you got the GameCube and stuff, or we got you guys GameCube and stuff, I used to love watching you guys play the Scooby-Doo. I love
Oh, yeah.
watching the storyline and everything and stuff. Now, Ty the Tasmanian Devil, I did like playing that. That game was fun. And I like watching you guys, like when we started getting to a point where I knew I couldn't open up much. I had to kind of follow what you guys opened. I just stopped playing at a point because it got too hard for me and would watch yous. I love that. They had so much neat stuff because you got to remember, I'm walking into this as, I was looking at dots.
Yeah.
Well, or, very bad, poor
Poor
graphics
sprite
at a
work
point.
at that point. Yeah, I know
And-
exactly what you're
and
talking
stuff.
about.
And then all of a sudden, we bought you guys the GameCube, and this thing, tiny disc, DVDs had just hit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the mini
And I'm like,
DVDs with their
wow.
3D processing, which
And-
was pretty cool.
And as young as you guys were, it was just amazing how quick you picked up on it. Because see, here's the funniest thing about it was I had bought a game for it to play for me myself. You guys didn't play, but when we first got the GameCube, we had it before you guys got to get it for Christmas
Yeah.
and stuff. And I'm playing it, and I put in my game. It's a flying game, space flying game I bought, and it's very basic type, right?
Yeah.
And man, this is so cool, the graphics, And I keep dying and losing, and next thing I know, I'm so pissed off. I spike the goddamn thing and I break it. So I had to run out and buy another controller. I'm playing again another day or whatever, and it's because I think we got it like a month or so before Christmas. I ended up breaking 3 controllers before you guys ever got that damn thing.
Oh shit.
I get so frustrated, so mad. And your mother, your poor mother, she's just like, why are you even bothering? Leave it alone. If you cannot just play it, leave it alone. Because she'd get on it and play the thing, and
Yeah.
no big deal. And if she died, oh well, I'll start over. And,
Yeah.
or she maybe cuss a little bit, but she ain't enraged like I'm ready to. If this was a person, I'd rip its head and arms and legs off and throw it into the ditch. I'm so goddamn mad.
I've never really understood like the whole yelling at video games. I know Bubba does it a lot
Oh,
and
yeah.
everything, and
I'm
I do
kinda
understand
bad
like
about
getting really mad at it for like at a thing you're doing, like you keep dying. I understand that. I've yelled at my screen once, but I haven't like what you do, and you play multiplayer games, so I
Yeah.
guess you have teammates that just don't know what the hell they're doing. So you're probably yelling at them. But my thing is like I just don't understand
See,
it.
the thing is, for
'Cause-
me, is I get kind of passionate about it, especially these stupid
Well, you
fucking
guys,
war games.
you guys are getting into competition type stuff.
That's-
though.
yeah,
That's a little different than what I mean.
Mhm.
What I'm playing is competition, so to speak, but it's a computer.
Yeah, and
it's a
it's-
computer, and it's more of my skilling myself.
Yeah.
And stuff, but
And
I
that's
just
where
I
I'm with
can't
on you.
control myself with it.
Mhm.
It's not very good. I'm not very good at none of it, so I just kind of gave up on video gaming. And that's why when you guys get into that real deepness of it, I just kind of nod my head and smile.
Yeah, 'cause
that's you drove me to pot.
Here.
I don't play multiplayer games because I don't like the whole like I'm not good at a lot of them, and the whole competition thing just not for me. Because if I were to play multiplayer games, I know I'd be like you, screaming and yelling at the thing constantly. But like I like the single player games because then it's just I like the storyline for it. Because they're coming out with a lot of good games now that immerse you into a decent story to where it's basically almost like playing through a movie. And I like a lot of that. And
That sounds fun. I mean, it sounds like something I may like to do, but I'm not at my age now, and the way I've just really been out of it, not around the video games except for when you guys do it, so I kind of ignored it after
Yeah.
you got past watching you play as a kids.
mm-hmm.
I just really, it doesn't appeal to me. I don't know why, but it doesn't. I prefer to watch movies or,
Yeah.
well, you know how I am anymore and stuff. I prefer hands-on. Basically, I go outside to my wood shop, and build. You know how I am with that
Yeah.
in video games. Because in some of the things I watch you guys do on these games you do now, when I do watch or hanging out with you for one reason or another, you're playing, it to me
Looks
it's just like,
complicated as all hell.
it's like, man, I wouldn't have a clue where to go, what I'm doing.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's like, man, this is, you guys have to dedicate some time to, which I mean, you probably also, as being your age and growing up with it, you're more apt to it. Me, it's just, I don't catch on very quick to none of this. It's a lot of it's over my head, and I'm not afraid to admit it. I'm not the brightest bulb in the box. I'm not a dipshit. But when it comes to things like that and computers and stuff, my industries I worked in were very analog, I guess is what you would want to call it.
Yeah.
So it was very hands-on, and that's pretty much how I've worked. I've always been a laborer. I've always been blue-collar.
Yeah.
So,
So remember how I was telling you about how just happens? It's like bursts for the weird rage gene.
Yeah.
Well, let me put it into a perspective through my perspective. I know I'm bad. I'm not the best. I'm not terrible. I'm not the best. And I know some of it, a lot of the time, is my fault. But with these games, you are put in a 4-man squad. So you got 3 other dudes that are with you. When I'm usually yelling, it's because I'll spawn right next to my teammate and immediately get gunned down, and this idiot's laying in the bush. He's just laying there. He doesn't even turn around. And the thing is, when you die in this game, you get downed, and then your teammates can come and pick you up. This idiot's laying in a bush, staring straight ahead with the sniper rifle. I'm like, turn around. You're about to get gunned by a freaking tank, dude.
This is why I don't play multiplayer games. Like I like my Fallouts and whatnot, because then you can just immerse yourself into the game. Like my Phil Collins, man.
well,
Just all I gotta do is
you know
be a
what
murderer of the wastes.
all I hear out of it is, you fucking douchebag.
Yeah.
God damn it, son of a bitch.
Yeah,
Lick my
exactly.
ass, you son of a bitch. God damn it. What the fuck? Son of a This is all I ever hear out there.
Yeah.
I don't, that's why a lot of this, like, he just went into all that spiel. It's all mumble to me, Because all I ever hear coming out of these gaming things is it's cuss words and they're downing each other and you're a turd licker and kiss my butt and you're a ball licker or whatever. You guys get raw with it and it's just ungodly.
He gets raw with it. I don't
know.
know about me.
It's worse in game.
I mean, you can only tell, I'll kill your whole family and you to go, it's like, wow, what the hell are they doing?
See, I don't have to worry about any of that. I just sit in my room, play the Phil Collins story, man. All right? I do what I want to do. All right? Phil Collins wants to go take over this settlement and just hold him at ransom. All right, we'll go do it. Phil Collins wants to go nuke a town for some money. All right, we'll go do it. See, I don't get angry because I get to choose what I want to do in those games. I don't understand why you're going to put yourself in a stressful situation and
if you're going to bring
just to be angry.
But
sorry,
you ever have a
just
character in a
had to
video
do that.
game that you've loved, that you've ever created?
there was one, and it was in Skyrim, because I played the living crap out of that game.
Oh yeah.
And his name was Dinkasurge. He was the first character I ever beat that game with. And he was an orc, and he didn't give shits about nothing. The whole point, the weirdest thing for those games is if you want to beat it fast, don't give a fuck.
At
Well,
all. I don't know.
But yeah, for one arcade game that I bought up with Mom, I was talking to her about it. It just got brought up randomly. It was Mortal Kombat.
Okay, yeah.
She said that she used to play that a lot with the uncles, right?
Yep.
Well, I was playing it with one of my friends. I think I was playing it with Michael. And I brought it up, and she's like, Mortal Kombat? I'd kick your ass in that game. I brought it down, and I showed her how it is now, and she's like, what's with all the blood? I was like, this is what the game has turned into.
This is what the people
Yeah.
wanted, was the blood and the gore.
And the sad part, you know how you said your mother, what's with all the blood and stuff? It had some blood in it in the arcade version that she can kick ass at, and I think in Genesis is what the video
Sega
game-
Genesis
yeah,
where it was on. It was
yeah,
on
I believe she could play it on. Is it also
Nintendo.
where they played it too? But it wasn't that much. And believe it or not, back then they had a cow about it. They were acting like that was the most horriblest thing in the world. Now you got people from shit I've watched you guys play, decapitations and all kinds of crazy
Oh, yeah.
crap
Oh yeah.
and stuff.
It gets really gory.
Yeah, so I can see where your mother's freaking out if Mortal Kombat's portraying some of the video games I watched you two play.
Like some of the gore in the Resident Evil series, especially the newer ones, man. It
Well,
gets
yeah.
really weird.
If you know at least the first movie, then you can suspect how the video games are going to be. They stay true to the gore of the movie. Holy moly!
And actually, the games came first.
Yeah.
And,
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
That's kind of like how I guess the Hitman movie did too. Then, so that came from. Wow, that's pretty neat. I didn't know that. Boys.
Yeah, and the games came first, and then they made the movie, and then the movie decided to take a more action approach. But nowadays the games are just they still follow a central storyline, but the newer ones are so weird. Then the storylines are coming out of nowhere. Like, huge spoiler alert, because I don't really care if anyone gets spoiled for it or not. I don't think anyone in the crowd's played it or not, or want to.
Or
But-
care.
Yeah, but your character's dead, and you don't know it. The whole game you're going through,
Oh.
your character has already died, and you don't know it. And there's clues to come up with that, because every time you get like an arm chopped off in like the cutscene, so it actually happened and whatnot, and your
Yeah.
whole he's just putting it back on, putting some like alcohol over it, and it's reattached. So I guess there was some hints there, like, yeah, this man's already
Oh,
dead. None of this is
well.
happening.
Okay, but is it like kind of like Zombie Dead?
There's it kind of like that. They're getting
Or-
they're getting more
'cause you're not a
supernatural
ghost.
with it. No, you're not a ghost in the
Okay.
game. They're getting more so where like all the stuff that you just went through never happened.
Because that
And
umbrella, I mean, I get how it's real.
It's a
into-
huge in-depth
it's
thing with
into
the umbrella.
Everything
Yeah.
and anything under the sun. Its R&D department
Mhm.
is
It used
is
to be
vast.
a pharmaceutical.
They went from pharmaceuticals, and then every game had a different
Well,
virus, wasn't it?
I thought
Yeah.
that didn't they have not a military, but a weapons department too, where they
Oh yes,
invented weapons,
an extreme weapons
for,
department,
for
and it was
use or whatever.
biochemical weapons is what they were trying to make.
Oh, okay.
They were trying to do
okay, so I
biological
was
warfare.
mistaken. See, I thought they did pharmaceuticals, but I also thought that they were also because like a Fortune 500 company has so many other
like different
so
departments.
much under one umbrella, company. But I thought they make actual guns, weapons.
I think they do make actual weapons, but that's so secret underground that it's not a part of the company you would have known of unless you're
they're
working
not,
in
okay,
the
so they're not doing like military contracts.
because they have their
I'll say.
own secret military, is what it is.
Oh,
they have like their own soldiers of Umbrella.
So
and all
they're
that.
they're creating their own society in a whole.
The
its
thing
own.
was to take over the world, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was their whole. That was their whole original thing, and they were trying to. They were fucking around with viruses. What was their original thing? Why they were doing that?
I don't quite recall, but I do remember that it went horribly wrong,
And they
the virus escaped, and everything went to shit.
Yeah, because that was the first one.
Yeah, because it wasn't. They weren't. What had happened in the lab wasn't meant to happen. What they're trying to do is create something that they could put out, and it would be in their benefit.
Yeah.
Maybe take out a certain genetic form. Genetic makeup of a person or whatever, I mean.
Yeah, and then they just started.
Maybe like when those pick and choose who gets to live and who don't.
Yeah, and then it evolved into, okay, so this virus we just created is killing people and reanimating them. Let's weaponize it. And they started coming up with different forms. The tyrant virus, the Plagas virus came out.
Yeah, but also, if it reanimates them, is it the possibility that they can also be used into their brainwash? Okay, the reanimate now they were a good person here, would pay,
Actually, what they did was
pay
they
their
would,
bills and everything.
Mhm.
Now they're reanimated. Now you can have them go out, commit crimes, and do all this stuff.
They did that with one of the people.
like a reprogram. I
Yeah,
guess.
kind of like that with the tyrant virus. They injected this one guy who worked with stars, was it?
Yeah.
And made him a tyrant, which
Holy
was
moly.
they sewed a rocket launcher into his arm or
Yep.
something like that. He was basically almost indestructible, and the guy in the game stalks you throughout the entire game.
Wow.
But in the movies with Ellis, it took her the entire movie to kill him, and I think she ended up taking him down with his own rocket launcher.
The thing is, she didn't want to kill him.
Oh yeah, no, because she found out who he actually was and was like, "Oh, that's like my best friend or like lover or some shit like that. I can't kill him, but it has to."
Yeah,
anyway.
it was her husband.
Okay.
So really, if you wanted to get into the deep depthness of Resident Evil, you have to go really into the video game.
Oh,
world
yeah,
of,
you have
of
to-
playing it. I mean, an actual playing it through the way it should be done.
They have a lot of secrets in there too. It's
It's kind of complicated.
to really get
it'd
the
be more
full
so a lot
grasp.
easier to like find those videos people do online of like explaining the lore, because you'd get a
Oh,
they'll
like how you talked to me about speed running.
Yeah.
But instead they're playing the video game, but they're telling you
Everything that goes on.
Like when you get to this point that you may not know about it, but if you go over here and smash this thing or go by this branch, you can get this.
Yeah. And
and
they'll explain
90% of people
everything in
don't
the
know
game
about it.
and all why this happens or what was going on. They'll explain all the backstory to you.
Oh,
And
okay.
it makes it a lot
Well,
easier to understand.
That might be a good episode for us to sit around and you guys explain to me about that kind of stuff on a video game tip.
Oh
That
yeah, we
might-
definitely could.
It'd help out with our older audience too to understand for their grandkids and even if they're kids too. If
Yeah.
they're as old as I am.
Especially the ones we like to play. They have extensive lore, but they're easily condensed to make a
Right.
like the whole like
so-
30-minute basically quick note on it. It's easy to condense them
and teach everybody about it. I get it. So we'll take that up at another episode. And this is Dad.
This is Son,
And this is Bubba.
Thank you for listening to our new tryout coffee stories. We'll see if it works out and maybe do an episode or two that way too. See if we can't get a little mix going for you folks. Thank you, and please tune in next time. Thanks for listening to Dad.
and Son on the Coffee Bar Stories.
Please join us each week for new stories.
All music in today's episode was brought to you by Kevin MacLeod.